I think she's here.
Let's go get her.
Carter,
Hi.
come on in.
I'm here for the audition. Is this right?
Oh yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Have a seat on the couch, please. So, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Do you know why you're here?
Yeah, came here for an audition.
Okay. Do you know what kind of audition you're here for?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Do you? We exchanged a few emails. You understand everything. You know that you need 2 forms of ID, please. Okay. Yep, that's good. All right, just a few questions before we get into this. Have you done anything in the adult industry before?
No.
So this is your first time.
Yeah.
Do you understand the kind of stuff you're going to be doing?
I think so.
Okay. Are you familiar with blowjobs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Real professional over here. Obviously, you'll be having intercourse. Working with a female talent. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You'll be getting paid somewhere between $1,000 to $5,000, depending on how good you are, how well you act, things like that. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Is that more money than you're making right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, we can't just hire a pretty face. We have to see what you look like naked. So what I'm going to have to ask you to do is take off your top, please.
Okay.
Oh, Jimi Hendrix, nice. Great artist. Just kidding, everybody. That next part was saved from mine and Steven's personal files. We are actually here with Carter Cruz, ECU legend, and Carter, I'm to believe that wasn't your first casting couch experience.
No, well, actually, I've not done casting couch before.
Per se,
that was not my first
industry
interview.
I didn't think so. Coming up on Walk the Plank TV, we are going to have a lengthy interview with the lovely Miss Carter Cruz. Stay tuned, everybody. Hello and welcome to Walk the Plank TV. I'm Dennis Jones. I'm here with a very special guest, ECU legend Carter Cruz. Carter, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very fine. Thank you very much. Let's get right into the questions after you take your water sip. First and foremost, your millions of viewers worldwide are dying to know, how did you get into the industry?
What made me decide to get into it, or how did I do it? It's kind of two
I guess, no, you're right there. You're right. I should have did more research. What made you, and transition that into how did you?
Well, so a year ago, I am a really big reader of Vice magazine. I don't know if you guys know already. You should check it out. It's awesome. And on there, they had an interview with Jessie Andrews, and she's a pretty big porn star. And I'm reading this interview, and I'm like, this girl is like, she's so smart. She's so like, got really interested in her. So I started really like kind of reading about her, and got me open to the porn industry because I'd never really watched porn or thought about it before ever.
Me either.
And I know somehow I don't believe that. I got really interested in sexual stigmas and how women have been really sexually repressed through society, and got really interested in the whole psychology behind it, and I wanted to really make a difference, and that was kind of like what got me to say like, wow, maybe I want to do porn, because I feel like if you're going to talk about sex, you need to know everything you can about sex, and I saw it as a good learning.
How did you broach the topic? How did you go about it? Who did you email? How did you enter the porn industry?
I just basically went on Google and Googled like
it's that easy.
Yeah, I Googled like, East Coast, adult talent agencies. And a bunch popped up, so I opened all their windows and I started kind of researching them. And East Coast Hounds, who is my agent, I sought out. He had a really nice website. I liked his website, and some of the girls that were on there, I looked at their stuff, and I saw that they got good work, and they were doing well for themselves. So I figured that if he could do that for them, he would also do that for me, because there is a lot of sketchy shit. Like when you first get in as an amateur, there's a lot of guys who say like, oh, I'm your agent, and they're just like really a pimp,
Oh, yeah, my friend Steven does a website like that. It's real sketchy.
So you have to, I wanted to stay away from those people. If I was going to do it, I was going to do it right. So I went straight to him, and I sent him, I took all my own pictures in my bedroom. I set up a little photo studio and took my pictures on my Mac. I locked my door. My roommate's like, what are you doing in there? What I'm like, no one come in. I was taking naked pictures of myself, and I was so nervous, and I sent them, and I'm like, oh, he's probably never even gonna call me. And the next day, I got a text from him, and he's like, hey, you're still interested, can I call you later? I'm like, yeah. Talked to him on the phone, he's like, do you want to come down to Florida in a week? I was like, wait, this is all happening so fast. But it was I felt really good about him, and everything's worked out good.
Who were the first people you told? Your parents?
They were some of the first. First people I told was my two best friends that I lived with, and also my best guy friend, who was actually probably the first one I told, because I told him before I was going to do it, and then my parents were next after that.
How were they receptive?
The first time when I called them, I was so nervous. I thought I was going to vomit. I was so scared, and I called them. I emailed them. It's like, hey, I have something to talk to you about, but I just want to let you know I've already made up my mind. There's no going to change it. So I'm going to tell you, but just get it out of your head. They're going to talk me out of it now. I called them up, and they're like, all right, what is it? They've been my parents for 22 years. They're kind of not shocked by anything. And I told him, and their first concern was mainly just that would get him with the wrong crowd, and get addicted to drugs, or get pimped out or whatever. And I was like, no, I'm going with a legitimate agency. I've got all that figured out. And so they're like, all right, well, as long as you're safe and happy, we don't really understand, but we're gonna try to, because we just want you to be happy.
When you came in as a freshman, what did you major in? What were you going to major for? What was your intentions when you came to college? What was your career goals?
Well, that was kind of the problem, because since I was 12 years old, I told my parents I'm never going to college. I don't agree with the whole institution, and I don't want a normal, boring 9-to-5 job. And what do you go to college for? To get a normal, boring 9-to-5 job. And I didn't want that. But I was dating a guy at the time, and we were pretty serious, and I didn't really want to go to college, but I didn't really have anything else that I really wanted to do. It was just kind of when everyone's telling you, go to college, and he went here, so I was like, well, I guess I'll go there, whatever. So I kind of honestly was just bopping around in school. I didn't really have any goals. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to law school, whatever. I kind of created this to tell people, because people ask you, what are you going to do after college? And it's so stressful when you don't know. So I kind of just created this whole thing oh yeah, I'm going to go to law school. I had everything figured out, just so everyone would be like, oh yeah, that's great. And I wouldn't have to talk about it anymore, And but it was never what I really wanted to do. So I came in, I was majoring in business, and I only did that because my dad made me, and I hated it so much. So we finally, I wanted to major in theater, and my dad wouldn't pay for it. So we finally compromised on psychology, and then my plan was to go to law school after school, but never really.
As a college student, you're getting paid more than an actual college student would at a part-time job or a full-time job, obviously. What a normal day entails.
The cool thing about it is you don't really have a typical day, because depending on the company you're shooting with and what you are shooting for that company, it's always different. So, for instance, if the bigger companies are a little bit more similar, because they have a lot more rules to adhere to. Whereas, a mom and pop, a fetish stuff, it's very, it's chill, yeah. It's usually at someone's house, it's pretty chill, you do your own makeup and hair, and,
Not unlike this.
Yeah.
Not like this.
But, then you go to the bigger companies, for instance, at Bang Bros, you put in a lot more hours there. So, let's say my call time would be 8 a.m. I come in to get my hair and makeup done. Then we do wardrobe, and they choose what you're going to wear. then they have to take you, because you're at the studio, you gotta go through they gotta check your IDs, you do paperwork, they film you saying, I'm not on any drugs or anything. And then they take you to the set, and then you meet, the male talent that you're working with, and, they explain to you, this is kind of like what we're gonna do, and you're like, all right, okay, then you take pictures and whatever, you do what you do in porn. But for payment is usually, you start off girl anywhere from like 500 to 800, boy girl anywhere from 800 to 1,000, usually within that range, just for starting. And then once you get more fans and people request you more, then you can charge a higher rate. That's kind of the base that you start off with.
Guy girl, you get paid more? Because I was under the impression that girl was that was the moneymaker.
Well, no, because girl is also, it's a lot easier.
Yeah,
there's
no big ending.
No, yeah, it's with girl, it's I did one with Bang Bros with Alexa Ames a couple weeks ago, and we're afterwards we're oh my god, I don't feel like I instantly need to go take a shower, because after my boy girls, my hair is soaked in sweat, matted, you have cum all over you, you're tired, and you put a lot of effort. But with girl, it's more passionate and sensual, and there's not as many body fluids.
Right.
So it's definitely a little bit easier. You're not having to get into crazy positions. It's usually pretty much just typical oral sex. So.
It sounds like my Tuesday afternoons.
Tuesday afternoons, exactly.
You weren't a lesbian going in, but you've obviously done girl-on-girl scenes. How difficult is that to start off with? Because I couldn't imagine putting a penis in my mouth. And you've provided cunnilingus on other girls. So.
I wasn't grossed out by girls. I just had honestly never had any real encounter with any real lesbian. I mean, I met maybe one or two, but never really had any. So they seemed they're so different
Was there a stigma to them?
Yeah, but so the first girl I did, because I'd only ever really made out with a girl before porn.
Me
and so I started, so the first day, they're ready, you're gonna go down on her or whatever, and I'm I don't know what I'm doing, I'm sorry.
I still don't.
And I'm I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it sucks, and they're no, but honestly, it's with girls, it's really fun, because you usually end up bonding with them, the scene, you'll end up being friends, and it's just hanging out with your girlfriends, and it's just sex. It doesn't mean anything I'm gonna date them, or I don't know. It's so difficult to say, because I'm definitely into dudes. I wouldn't consider myself bisexual if you put that standard, but it doesn't bother me to have sex with a girl.
Have you gotten better? Can you give me some pointers on what to do? Because it is a mystery box, and I don't have the kid.
I think I've gotten a little bit better, but could probably give you better tips for blowjobs. Oh. But I don't know if you need those. He's got that under control.
Yeah, I'm good with my blowjob party tricks. I'm more worried about the ladies.
The lady parts.
I'm not familiar in the ways of the labia.
Well, I was so guys start off and they don't understand that just getting a girl just getting rammed with a dick doesn't feel good. You actually have to pay attention to the clit, right? So that's the first step, guys. That's
pay attention.
Yeah. So the guy doesn't know that, right?
Free lessons.
So that's bad. But then there's the next stage where the guy learns that the clit is what feels good, and they get so excited that they've learned this piece of information. They're oh yeah, man, I know about the clit. I got this on lock, and they're just fucking rubbing that shit out. All right, man. You got step one down, but you gotta. And
can't jump to the finish. You gotta read the whole book.
Exactly.
And I mean, I can't really. For every girl, it's different things, So I mean, it's the best thing for sex, I think, is to always ask and have good communication.
Because I've seen my fair share of porn where it's just. Oh yeah, I'm not going to get into all the moaning, but it's just a lot. It seems like you're just BSing. When it actually goes on, do you tell them ahead of time oh I like X, Y, and Z, or it just kind of on the fly?
Well, I think on set, you just kind of go with it, but usually you end up working with the same guys over and over again, so they kind of
build a rapport.
Yeah, and you kind of have that chemistry with them, and once you kind of have chemistry with a certain performer, you'll probably get booked with him more because, you know, you work well together on screen, you know? So if there's someone you really just don't work well with, like, they probably won't book you guys together because it just doesn't give a good enough scene. But I think what you're saying about, you know, porn being BS is, so I think that's what separates, like, good porn from, like, shitty porn, and good porn actresses from bad porn actresses, and, like, that's what I really, like, to me is a huge thing. When I watch porn, I felt like the girl is, like, sitting there moaning, like, she's loving it so much, but then she would, like, never actually, like, have, like, this crazy orgasm. I'm like, if it feels so, you know, like, and I get, like, I don't think like, sex isn't about an orgasm. Like, you can have great sex without an orgasm. Like, that's totally fine. But I was
Every girl I've had sex with.
Yeah.
Actually, I would consider it great sex. But sorry, everybody.
But they don't really understand that. Like, I mean, I just would watch it, and I feel kind of like it wasn't like, I don't know. I like porn to
Didn't
be
seem
more,
genuine.
Yeah, I wanted it to be like, I don't know, my favorite scenes are where the girls are just, I don't know, if you watch like Bonnie Rotten, or I don't know, she's like all tied up and like and that's why I really like Jessie Andrews too, because when you watch her in her scenes, it's like she's just so into the moment and she's getting so much enjoyment and pleasure out of it. Asa Akira, same way. Those girls, like,
she's my favorite.
She's awesome. She's fantastic. She's so funny too. But like those girls, like they put themselves.
Funny porn star?
Who knew?
Where can I write? I think we get along.
They put themselves into the scene and they really get into the moment, and I think that's like what, you know. So obviously, like, there's tons of porn out there. So you're gonna have like the shitty porn where, you know, the girls are just like, oh, you know, and no one's really, it's just all for the camera. But I think if you want to make really good porn, you have to be able to really let yourself go and be comfortable.
Describe your very first day. Like, what's going through your head, expectations you had. Just describe it. Obviously not the porn part. We know what happened there.
Well, I actually got a crazy initiation into the industry because I went to FetishCon, which is a huge convention. People come from all over the United States it's all about fetish stuff.
Literally come all over the United States.
Yeah, literally, it was FetishCon. Yeah, it was good. Went to FetishCon, I got off the plane, and my agent picked me up.
FetishCon was where? Vegas?
Tampa.
Oh, Tampa.
Mm-hmm. And so,
Sunshine State.
yes, so he took me to the hotel, and we get there, and it's at the Hilton, which was so funny because here you have the Hilton where there's all these businessmen there and out, just normal people, and then you have all these crazy, like, porn people. And I remember, this was so funny, the one night we got on the elevator and there's this girl, she's, you know the things you carry the luggage in?
Yes.
She's, like, all tied up, like human bondage, like, tied to the thing, and she's being pushed around. They put her on the elevator, and this one guy's, like, not wearing a shirt, and he's, like, chains on him, and, like, he's like, you know, like all fucked up, whatever. And there's this businessman and he's like in a suit, and he was so nervous. He's like standing in the corner of the elevator, just like, like, what have I got myself into? And I was like, oh my god, I feel so bad for him. But I got there, and everyone's like super cool. Like, I was so nervous. I was so scared that I was gonna hate it and made a huge mistake. And my agent introduced me to a couple of different producers there, and like they're all really cool and like, oh, like, you know, like just hanging out like at this convention. And my agent's like, well, you know, you need to go take a shower because you need to have your first shoot. And I'm like, wait, already? Like, no, you know. And so that weekend I did mostly fetish stuff, so no actual sex. Like I did a foot job, I did like, I don't know, like a video of a guy like licking my ass, like just stupid shit, you know?
No, you know, just a
guy
casual rim job.
Rim job.
But
Casual.
yeah, like it was, you know, most of it was it was actually pretty fun, you know, because it was like stuff that I'd never been exposed to, like fetishes I'd never even heard of, that I was like.
Do you have a certain fetish that you would like to disclose on camera?
I actually don't have any fetishes. I do have
Good question.
kinks, which are different.
Whoa.
Well,
So-
could you elaborate on the
Because I have no idea.
because I have no clue what that is.
What is a kink?
Well, with kinks and fetishes, a kink is something that would help you. You could have like a foot kink, right? So like where,
I hate feet.
but you know where the point's like, okay, maybe you're a guy that you're really into girls' feet and you like think they're hot, but you can get off without that. But that just like makes it better for you, right?
Oh.
But a fetish is when like you can't get off
Without the fee.
without it. But
So I
the thing is,
think you meant kinks and just didn't know
No,
that there was a
I
word
didn't-
for
I
it.
didn't know
usually,
that.
people use the word fetish like pretty like generally. I don't think usually if people talk about fetishes, they're not, most of the time they don't mean that extreme, but scientifically, like that's.
So to clarify for everyone at home, fetishes are you can't get off without it.
Yeah.
But kinks is just makes it more pleasurable for you.
Right.
Okay. Just to clarify.
But now you gotta ask the follow-up.
Yes. So
What are the kinks?
What are the kinks?
My kinks?
Yes, your kinks.
Nobody cares about mine.
Well, I really,
Typically don't care about mine either.
I really only have one, and it is that I like to be choked. So,
I'm scared.
I'm not.
I have scared a few guys with it, but it's actually something that it's something I don't.
Did you
really,
discover that prior to entering the industry?
Yeah, I actually definitely. I actually can tell you exactly why I have that.
Well, let's hear it.
This is kind of
This is really specific,
This is
so I'm
super
interested.
personal, so.
Oh, well, you don't have to.
Well,
No, you don't have to. This.
I'll tell a personal story if
it's
you want.
Yeah, I mean, I got plenty.
Mine aren't probably nearly as good as yours.
No, it's nothing bad. But I actually started masturbating at a very young age, and I would hold my breath. I don't know why.
Oh,
Asphyxiation.
yeah.
It was
Okay,
just
yeah.
something that I did ever since I was a little kid, and I have no idea why, but I can definitely see why. Then when I transitioned, into having sex, that is kind of like the alternative to that. You're not doing it yourself, and so it's just something I always did, and so I like it during sex. But again, it's not it's just something I think's hot and turns me on, but I don't need to have it or anything. And I usually don't, because I usually don't trust most guys.
Me either.
Yeah.
Because guys who know what they're doing, it's totally safe, but most guys are like, okay.
Some guys don't know their own strength sometimes.
And they get drunk with power.
Exactly.
The last thing you want to do is pass out mid-coitus.
Exactly.
You're a campus legend, whether you want to admit it or not. You are very well known. And how do you deal with between the girls that are haters because they might not know you and they think porn's this dirty business, and the other end of the spectrum where you get creepy guys saying oh, I think of you when I rub one out, and just the uncomfortability of imagining that.
I think there's positive and negative. Definitely I see both. But I just kind of choose to focus more on the positive. So I know that there are girls that will say, oh, that girl, she's so disgusting, she's a whore. But then I've also had girls come up to me and thank me for being so sexually open, because they said they never felt comfortable doing that, and it was so nice to see someone who wasn't afraid to do that. And so I just, I kind of feel with anything that you do, you're always going to have haters, and then but as long as you just focus on the people who you're impacting positively. And if a guy tells me, jacked off my porn, cool, that tells me I'm doing my job right. So it's not as weird. I thought it would be a lot weirder, I guess.
When you go out downtown, how often do you get recognized? What's it like? I couldn't imagine paying for a single drink if I was you.
I would.
How do you not drink for free? What's a night in Greenville like for Carter Cruz?
It is really strange. I didn't expect it. My first night back after I went to Florida for the first time, I didn't want to go out, but I was at Subdogs with one of my girlfriends, and I'm just wearing t-shirt, shorts, no makeup, just catching up. Hadn't seen her in a while. And my friends were oh, come to PB's, come say hey. And it's I think it was a Wednesday night, so I'm oh, I doubt that many people will be out, and I'll just run in and say hey and then go home. And I was so mortified because I walked in and some guy just said, oh, I'm man, are you Carter Cruz? And I was wait, what? And he's can I take a picture? I'm no, I don't have any makeup on, I'm wearing a t-shirt, I don't look cute. And I was so shocked. I didn't think that anyone would really give a fuck about what I was doing, but so people would come up and want to take pictures or whatever, but most of the time it's like, I don't know, it's like, it's actually really positive. It makes me feel good about what I'm doing, not like, oh, this attention's great, but just the fact that like people come up and say thank you, like that you're doing this, like it's so cool what you're doing. I'm like, thank you, like that really, it helps me get through the days when, I do get like a lot of haters or whatever, because I just like think about those people that said positive things to me. So it's actually really good. I appreciate it.
Has porn changed sex for you in your personal life because of all the things you've done? Like what would a potential boyfriend do to satisfy you? Just be himself?
It's actually made it a lot better. I think because the thing is a lot of times people think that if you do porn that you're not going to be able to have good sex outside the industry. But that's just not true, because the thing is when you're having sex with someone in your personal life, there's that intimacy there where you care about them and they care about you and you're into them, so you're obviously more turned on. And so I think that it doesn't really affect it, because it's just like having a one-night stand doesn't affect the next time you have to date someone. It's not going to change it, And for me, I think porn, I've learned so much. So to me, it makes sex better in my personal life, because I'm so much more confident, and I'm like, I don't feel nervous like asking guys or like trying new things. I feel a lot more confident, so it makes it more fun for me, which obviously makes it better for the guy. My first I did in the VIP with Reality Kings was like my first big scene, and after Fetish Con, and I didn't I was like, okay, I think I'm pretty good at sex, I think I'm pretty decent, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm awesome, but I felt good about it. And then I was really nervous the whole day, and I got there and I was paired with this girl. There's 2 girls and 2 guys, and the girl was Tegan Summers, and she's been in the industry for 5 years, right? And this girl, I'm watching her, and I'm like, I cannot fuck like that. I have no idea how to do that. And I was just like, everything, all my confidence was just like, I'm like, damn, because I realized even if you're good, on a normal person scale, on a pornstar scale, I was at the bottom of the barrel.
If there was one thing you basically could tell people about the porn industry, what would it be?
Sex is, everyone's different. And we have this idea of what sex is and what it should be, but people don't realize that they're just Fetish Con. Here you have hundreds of people coming together that most people would say, oh, that's so strange and weird, but it's obvious there's a whole culture of those people. If you BDSM, there's a whole culture of people who just get off to BDSM and they love it and they have normal jobs.
Thank you for coming out. We would like to thank Carter Cruz for entertaining us for this very lengthy interview session. You can find her on Twitter, on Tumblr. That was funny. Go ahead, plug any sites you have.
You can find me on Twitter at Carter Cruz, CarterCruise, Cruz like Tom Cruise. Tumblr and Instagram with the same name.
Thank you for coming out.
If you guys have any questions about...
Where is the clit and how do I find it? I'll actually, that's going to be my next tweet. I'm just going to tweet that too.
Yeah, where's the clit? Where's the clit and how do I use it?
This mysterious clitoris you speak of.
How do I use it and where can I find it?
Teach me more.